Baruch Shabbat Yom, brothers and sisters, Hebrews in Jamaica, the Caribbeans, the West, to the four corners of the earth, scattered greetings. This Shabbat lesson, we're going to title it, Rahab. What can we learn? Right? Rahab. What can we learn, brothers and sisters? Rahab. What can we learn? Let's kick it off with the scriptures, brothers and sisters. Yahusha 2, 1-7. That's Joshua 2, 1-7. It's all on the screen, brothers and sisters, And Joshua the son of Nun, sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly. Now, brothers and sisters, it's not this Joshua or Yahusha is not the Mashiach, because the word Joshua is our English translation, but it's Yahusha, right? They would call him Yahusha in those days, right? So, and Yahusha or Joshua, the son of Nun, sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go, view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither to night of the children of Israel to search out the country. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. How would they know that, brothers and sisters? That these 2 men of Israel came tonight, in that night. It's because the children of Israel was distinct. What do I mean by distinct? They were different. Their appearance, number one, obviously, melanated so-called black people, obviously. The way how they dress, that's how they know they were Israelite or Yashraelites. That's how they know. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the countries. Verse 4. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said, Thus there came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out, whither the men went, what not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gates, brothers and sisters. Right? So what stalks of flax? What that means and it looks like. Okay, brothers and sisters, take a look at the screen. From the Bible Dictionary, Eastern Bible Dictionary, flax, right? Flax. Hebrew, pishta. Flax. Hebrew, pishta. That's the name in Hebrew for flax. Pishta. Right? Pishta. I.e. peeled, in allusion to the fact that the stalks of flax, when dried, were first split or peeled before being steeped in water for the purpose of destroying the pulp. This plant was cultivated from earliest time. The flax of the Mizraim, Egypt, was destroyed by the plague of hail when it was boiled, i.e. was forming pods for seeds, hence flaxseed, flaxseed oil. This is where it comes from, brothers and sisters, Exodus 9:31. Shemot, Exodus 9:31. Right? Shemot, Exodus 9:31. It was extensively cultivated both in Mizraim, Egypt, and Palestine. Reference is made in Yahusha or Joshua 2 and 6 to the custom of drying flax stalks by exposing them to the sun on the flat roofs of houses. It was much used in forming articles of clothing such as girdles, also cords and bands. Leviticus 13:48, Leviticus 13:52, Leviticus 13:59, Deuteronomy Davraim 22 and 11. And here's an image of flax and stalk, brothers and sisters. Take a look at the screen. Here's one. As you can see on the screen, brothers and sisters, the first one you see is green, right? And then the next one is dried up, so it's like when it's green, your first pick it is going to be green, obviously, And then we put it on to dry, then it can be used to make your clothing, get seed, flax seed. You could make drinks, pills, whatever you want to use to enhance your health, and you know what I mean, cords and so forth and so forth. So you have an idea of flax and stalk. This is what the scripture was saying, flax and stalks in Yahusha Joshua. So Rahab, like the rest of Jericho's inhabitants, was deeply frightened. As a pagan prostitute is in a doomed city, her prospect seems bleak. Across the Jordan, on the plains of Moab, an invasion force had gathered. Its numbers were beyond counting, but the menacing army wasn't the only cause for fear. Word had spread that the Israelites, Eliyahu, had roundly defeated the gods and armies of Mitzrayim in the greatest empire in the world. Couldn't stop Israel. What hope remained for a Canaanite city like Jericho? Rahab inhabited a house in the city wall, from which vantage point she prospered in her trade. There were always men hungry for pleasure. Most lived in the city, but the road that passed by Jericho also ensured a steady stream of weary travelers, seeking what Rahab could provide. So in Joshua 2:2-7, brothers and sisters, two strangers hoping to escape notice appeared at her door. So two strangers hoping to escape notice appeared at her door. What was more common than travelers seeking out a harlot? But the two were spotted and identified by Israelite spies. Because why? Because they're notable, the appearance and the way how they dress, the melanated people, and the way they dress. Particularly, let's put it like this, brothers and sisters. In those days, people were melanated. But what stand out with the Israelites is how they dress. You understand? Their fringes, girded their lions, their headdress. You understand? They were distinct, so they could easily be spotted. Right? But the two were spotted and identified as Israelite spies. Rahab saw an opportunity, hit the Israelites, and then lied to the king's men, sending them out of the city in pointless pursuit of these enemies of Jericho. Why not? What did she owe the king or anyone else in Jericho? The Israelites would soon overwhelm the city. Moreover, something new was growing in her heart, an unaccustomed stirring called hope. Her hope was based on what she'd learned about the invisible Eliyahu of Israel. His name, I Am, Yah, was unlike any other Eliyahu. The Eliyahu she knew were little deities who were supposed to control weather, crops, or fertility. That same type of thinking and ways of worship is going on today in modern time. Hence what the scripture said, there is nothing new under the sun. She could bargain with them just as she was accustomed to haggling with a man over the price of her service. You see, brothers and sisters, so these little deities that these wicked people have, whether they're among laymen or so-called celebrities and so-called leaders, political leaders and cults, They could bargain with their pagan gods. They could do that. Just like what Rahab said, she could bargain with her gods, right? But listen what she said. This I am wasn't in the business of wrangling over terms. So Rahab negotiated instead with the spies in an effort to ensure her family survival. I could see that in Joshua 2:8-16. But in doing so, Rahab gained more than safety. She received a new life. The Eliyahu of Israel enfolded her into the community of his people. You understand? Because something was stirring in her heart. Her heart was beginning to change. The Ruach HaKodesh was impressing upon her heart. Because the Moses saw her heart, and her heart was different. Oh, that if these harlots today would turn from their wicked ways and truly change and seek the Most High with their whole entire heart. Change from the inside out. But many of you can't do it because you're imprinted with the wickedness of this world, and you love to have it so. These so-called modern day women today love hearing lies and pandering. You see, brother and sister, that's what they love. And it's the same among our black women, and it's the same thing happened to our foremother Eve. Listen to the lies of Hashatan. Sweet nothing. Don't want to take responsibility for nothing. The same spirit today amongst our so-called daughters of Zion. Well, not so-called. They are daughters of Zion, but they're not acting like daughters of Zion. That's why I say so-called. For those who participate in this lifestyle of debauchery. Yes, I mean feminism. Feminism, yes, feminism. A lot of people would tell you that, you know what I mean, some of our heroes in chattel slavery, you know, our female warriors are feminists. No, they're not feminists. You know what feminism means? It's going against the leadership of a man. You don't need no man. I could do by myself. That was the true definition of feminism. You know what I mean? Harriet Tubman and those mighty warriors weren't a feminist. She worked for a black man. You see. But this is the idea that they want to put in your head, that these women are feminists. They're not. You know what I mean? Rahab was not a feminist. She loved men. That's why she was in the business of prostitution. You see. So we got to be careful, brothers and sisters, how we assign meaning to things which they are really not. So, but in doing so, Rahab gained more than safety. She received a new life. The Eliyahu of Israel enfolded her into the community of his people. She left a life of shame to ultimately become a wife. I want you all to listen out there, those who participate in this lifestyle. You understand? Truly change. You can change truly if you so desire. But unfortunately for some of you, you cannot, because you're already imprinted and you convince yourself that this is it. That this is it. But in doing so, Rahab gained more than safety. She received a new life. The Eliyahu of Israel enfolded her into the community of his people. She left a life of shame to ultimately become a wife. Ultimately become a wife and a mother. So, you know, in those days, there was no cell phone or technology to that extent, you see. So Rahab could have easily transitioned into a different life. But in this instance with Rahab, before she transitioned physically, it started spiritually. The Most High saw her heart and the action she had done towards the Israelite spies. Right? That gesture, that action is faith. So the Most High said, okay, she can be changed because of her actions and of her deeds. You see, brothers and sisters. And what is a plus on her side too, there was no technology like today in this modern time. Yeah, social media. These women broadcast their trade, their abominable trade all over the world, so everybody could see that. So it's very hard to walk away from that. That's gonna follow you wherever you go. But in this instance with Rahab, it didn't follow her everywhere she go. You understand? Because again, she left that city, Jericho. Right? She left that city, Jericho. I went to Israel. So the different countries to travel from one country to another. So that stint didn't follow her. That stench didn't follow her. You understand? Because again, she was covered by one of the Israelites' men, and they have children. She became a wife, so she was engrafted in the house of Israel. You see, so that's a clear difference. You see. So most amazing for Rahab would come the line of David and his greatest descendants. So you see that? It's how the Most High deliver her. For most amazing from Rahab would come the line of David and his greatest descendant, the Mashiach of Israel and the Savior of humankind. That's in Matthew 1 and 5 to 6. Let's look at that, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, take a look at the screen. Right, turn the scripture to Matthew 1, 5 to 6. So we're talking about genealogy, right? And Salmon begot Boaz of Rachab or Rahab, right? And Boaz begot Obed of Ruth, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David the Melech, and David the Melech begot Solomon, or David the king, right? So in Hebrew is Melech, right? Begot Solomon of her that had been the wife of Urias, right? So we're going to look at another translation. We're going to go to Geneva of 1599, right? Because I started in Matthew, I just gave you 2 verse 5 and 6, so we're going to go to, the full thing, 1 to 6, right? Because I want you to get a better understanding of the genealogy that Rahab or Rachab was in that genealogy, right? That's how her faith got her. She become royal. Because that's what faith does. Faith is things hoped for. Huh? Okay, brothers and sisters. Matthew 1. We're going to stop at 6. So we're going to take it from 1 to 6. Right? From Geneva Bible. The Holy Bezorah of Yahusha Mashiach, according to Matthew, that Yahusha is that Mashiach, the Savior promised to the fathers. Nativity of the Mashiach. The book of the genealogy of Yahusha Mashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Yehuda and his brethren. And Yehuda begot Perez and Zerah of Tamar, and Perez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram, and Ram begot Amminadab, and Amminadab begot Nahshon, and Nahshon begot Salmon, and Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab, and Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab, and Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab, and Boaz begot Obed of Ruth, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David the Melech, and David the Melech begot Solomon of her that was the wife of Uriah, brothers and sisters. So she is a part of the royal lineage that Yahusha sprang from. Faith, things hoped for, brothers and sisters. It's very deep and spiritual. So Rahab hoped to mere survival but gained salvation on the basis of faith. Rahab hoped to mere survival but gained salvation on the basis of her faith, brothers and sisters. All of this began with Rahab's faith in Eliyahu. She had come to know secondhand through nearly unbelievable stories of his great works. So faith without works is dead. And many of our people in those days, and even in now, right, in this time and day, gain faith by hearing. You see. So in this instance, in this case, Rahab gained faith by hearing the stories of what the Eliyahu of Israel, Yahuwah, had done to his enemies and the pagan gods and idols. And in that she believed. So the Spirit of the Most High began to dwell in her and to work in her, the Ruach HaKodesh, because she first gained faith by hearing and believing. And by hearing and believing, what happened after that? Two things took place before the action. She heard the words of the Most High from different sources. And then once she heard, what happened? The word coming to her, and then what? She started believing and having faith. And when the opportunity present to her, she act upon it. Hence, save her, her whole house, and her whole entire generation got saved. And she was part of the royal house, an increment figure, central figure of the scriptures in terms of genealogy. When you talk about genealogy of the Mashiach, Rahab is right there. Again, when you talk about genealogy of the Mashiach, my Savior, you have to include Rahab, because her faith was great, brothers and sisters. So all of this began with Rahab's faith in Eliyahu. She had come to know secondhand through nearly unbelievable stories of his great works. You can see that in Joshua 2:8-11. She placed her hope in Eliyahu's greater than those fashioned by beings. She placed her hope in Eliyahu greater than those fashioned by human beings. This is the same Eliyahu who can deliver us. He is great enough to dry up the seas, to make our ways safe, destroy all the obstacles that threaten to destroy us, and demonstrate that he is greater than heaven and earth. Hence the saying, or the scripture says, greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. Brothers and sisters? So this is the same Eliyahu who can deliver us. He is great enough to dry up the seas, to make our way safe, destroy all the obstacles that threaten to destroy us, and demonstrates that he is greater than heaven and earth. Joshua 2:10-11, brothers and sisters. So Rahab's faith and service not only saved her, but it gave her a home among Eliyahu's people. You can see that in Joshua 6:22-23. The symbol of salvation for Rahab and her family was the scarlet cord in her window. And that one of that color, and that scarlet is part of Israel's color, royal color. That's the mark of her salvation in that time. The symbol of salvation for Rahab and her family was the scarlet cord in her window. Joshua 2:18-21. Today we can cling to another scarlet cord, the blood of Yahusha, which cleanses us and make us Eliyahu's prized possession. We've been redeemed from the empty way of life that once enslaved us by the precious blood of the Mashiach. Kifa Rishon Kifa Rishon 1:18-19, brothers and sisters. So here's another proven mention of Rahab. Okay, brothers and sisters, of our faith. So you have two. You have two sections and two parts where the scripture mention of Rahab. We just go over it in Matthew. We just went over that in Matthew, the genealogy. And now we're going to go to Hebrews. Some of the heroes of faith listed in Hebrews includes Abel, Noah, Abraham, Sarai, and Moshe among the other prominent names of the Old Testament. So you see her name is listed among the great ones, right? But there's another name in the list that might not seem as obvious in verse 31, right, of Hebrews. So let's look at that, brothers and sisters, huh? Brothers and sisters, okay, brothers and sisters, let's it's on the screen, to look at the screen. Abraham, Hebrews chapter 11, we're going to take it from 1 to 31, huh? Now faith is the substance of things hoped for. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Eliyahu, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto Eliyahu a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. Eliyahu testified of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Eliyahu had translated him, brothers and sisters. For before his translation he had this testimony that he pleased Eliyahu. But without faith, brothers and sisters, but without faith it is impossible to please him. But without faith, brothers and sisters, it is impossible to please him. But without faith, brothers and sisters, et Israel, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Eliyahu must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. By faith Noah, being warned of Eliyahu of things that not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by what? Faith. By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went. By faith sojourn in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundation, whose builder and maker is Eliyahu. Through faith also Sarah he herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were pursued of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country, and truly if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is an heavenly, wherefore Eliyahu is not ashamed to be called the Eliyahu, for he had prepared for them a city. By faith Abraham, when he was tried, brothers and sisters, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounting that Eliyahu was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him a figure. By faith Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, and worshipped, leaning upon the top of his staff, brothers and sisters. By faith, Joseph, when he died and made mention of the departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith, brothers and sisters, Moshe, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moshe, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Eliyahu than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of the Mashiach greater riches than the treasure of Mizraim, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Mizraim, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible, brothers and sisters. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of the blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith, brothers and sisters, by faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Mizrahims are saying to do were drowned. By faith, brothers and sisters, by faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days, brothers and sisters. Here's the finale. By faith, brothers and sisters, by faith, brothers and sisters, the harlot Rahab perished not. By faith, brothers and sisters, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not. By faith, brothers and sisters, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not. By faith, brothers and sisters, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believe not, when she had received the spies with shalom, peace. Let that sink in, brothers and sisters. Truly, let it sink in. So Rahab showed her faith in Israel through her actions, and let the spies down the outer wall of the city by a rope through the window. The book of James used this as an example of how one is justified by one's actions. James 2:25. Right? You go research that on yourself. Right, brothers and sisters? Read that for your own, huh? This is a great lesson we can learn. Like Rahab, we must act on our faith. It's not enough to just have faith and believe. Hence, in Eliyahu, hence faith without work is dead. We have to act on it through obedience, as James also wrote, faith without work is dead. So Rahab's journey of faith began by hearing the miracles performed by Eliyahu of Israel. She had heard of the Red Sea, the miracles that Eliyahu had performed 40 years earlier, right? She believed because of what she heard. This illustrates a point about faith, that Paul wrote, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Eliyahu. Romans 10:17. The Israelites saw the Red Sea split, but they didn't have enduring faith. You see how funny that is, brothers and sisters? Rahab was not there, when the Moses delivered Israel from Mizraim. She wasn't there. But still Israel was there, and yet still did not believe. And here this woman, you understand, who wasn't there, wasn't present for the miracles, great miracles and terrifying miracles of the Most High, but she believed. How sad that is. I could see that very type of attitude today in this modern time. This very same attitude. They don't believe God exists. God is not really a figmentation of people's mind. Sky daddy, sky God, all type of foolishness, buffoonery and backwardness. Hence what the scripture said, our people shall perish for what? Lack of knowledge. You don't know. You're stupid. You don't know. You don't want to know. That's the problem. It's not like you can't know, because there's information all around you. There's a mini computer in your hands called a phone. But you choose to search or debate your foolishness and negativity and convince yourself, you don't have the knowledge. But you're quick to find knowledge to do foolishness and wickedness, right? Right. So Israelites saw the Red Sea split, but they didn't have enduring faith as they continued rebelling against him. Afterward, Rahab didn't see the miracles, but believed by hearing of Eliyahu and his power to part the sea. Believers today also must base our faith on hearing and reading. None of us has seen the mighty deeds performed by Eliyahu in Bible times, but we read and hear about them and believe. Yahushua pronounced special blessing on people who did do this. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed, brothers and sisters. Yohachanan 20 and 29, to believe what we have heard about him, to believe what we have heard about, have not seen. We must have faith. Not only did Rahab believe Eliyahu, she confessed that he is Eliyahu in heaven above and on earth beneath. Joshua 2 and 11. This is an amazing statement considering, brothers and sisters, that she had spent her entire life in a pagan, polytheistic culture. In this statement, she was forsaking her own pagan gods as worthless. Many of you cannot do that today because many of you sell your soul, especially in the music industry, music fraternity. You're pagan celebrities and false god attached to your names, even among the laymen. Rahab showed belief and loyalty to Eliyahu that was often lacking among the Israelites themselves. No. She didn't fully understand Eliyahu's laws and standards yet. As evidenced, brothers and sisters, by her willingness to lie to save the spies, but her brave actions were due to her extraordinary faith. Like Rahab, we can exercise faith and loyalty to the true Eliyahu through hearing and reading about him. Hence, study to show yourself approved. By studying, you're gaining faith and knowledge and believe that Yah is Yah, and that his host on Yahusha is Eliyahu, who rose from the dead on the third day, Saturday, 3 days and 3 nights. After the book of Joshua, Rahab is not mentioned in the Bible again until the opening chapter of the book of Matthew, where we find her in the genealogy of Yahushua HaMashiach. I went over that already. We don't know much about Solomon except he probably swam against the current, pardoned to pun by marrying Rahab the harlot. It was probably generally known that she came out of prostitution, yet Solomon married her anyways. Yahushua said, wisdom is justified by her children, Matthew 11 and 19. This means that the way we live in our lives should reflect Eliyahu's wisdom. In other words, you will know them by their fruits. Matthew 7 and 16. In this case, it's literally true. The fruit of Rahab's womb was Boaz, the same Boaz who redeemed and married Ruth, the Moabite. Ruth 4, 9 to 13. Compare Matthew 1 and 5, brothers and sisters. This is your homework. Go and study them yourselves. Ruth 4, 9 to 13. And you compare that with Matthew 1 and 5. We probably have not noticed how closely related Rahab and Ruth are, especially considering that Rahab made her entry in the early chapters of Joshua or Yahusha, while the book of Ruth comes after Judges, which makes them seem hundreds of years apart. But the fact is, Ruth was Rahab's daughter-in-law. When Boaz redeemed Ruth, he likely saw striking similarities between her and his mother Rahab. Both were Gentiles, outsiders of the nation of Israel. Both forsook their people, their Eliyahus, and their customs. Both showed an intense loyalty to Eliyahu of Israel that was uncommon even among the Israelites. Both were their brother's keeper. Rahab looked after the spies. Ruth looked after Naomi, the mother of her first husband. Rahab's example was not just an inspiring to her son, But her example should stand out to us today, that we too can have faith and act on it, no matter who are or where we come from, brothers and sisters. Right? So though she usually referred to as Rahab the harlot, she didn't remain a harlot. Though she's usually referred to as Rahab the harlot, she didn't remain a harlot. Though she's usually referred to as Rahab the harlot, she didn't remain a harlot, brothers and sisters. When she came into the community of Israel, she left harlotry and lying behind and lived in accordance with the laws Eliyahu gave Israel. That's the key. That's the difference with many of you. You change with your mouth, but inward still filthy. You love the wickedness. You love the prostitutional and promiscuous lifestyle. And especially in this modern time, we got all this technology and social media. Yes, it's very hard to walk away from that, because as soon as you go on, you see yourself there doing foolishness and wickedness. So it's very hard for you to get away from that. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. After that, you're going to pay the consequences that follow you, because the lifestyle you so choose and love. The streetwalkers, that the old school streetwalkers that walk the street, they could get away from that if they're not so beaten up and driven down. You could walk away from that lifestyle, but for those of you who post your stuff all over the internet, how can you walk away from that? She didn't fully understand Eliyahu's way of life while living a harlot in Jericho, but she did believe. That belief led to faith, and that faith allowed Eliyahu to use her. That's the key. Rahab's faith saved herself and her family. Her faith helped her to change from being a woman of the night to being a woman of light, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to end the Shabbat lesson here fittingly. And I hope you females out there, who majority of you, some of you follow my channel, some of you fight against the channel. Yes, learn something from Rahab. Turn from your wicked ways. Change your mindset. Because I keep saying it over and over. Hell is going to be filled with more women than men. After all, there's more women than men on earth, right? Common sense logic, Turn from your wicked ways, ye men and women of ethnic Israel. Turn from your wicked ways. Yahusha is around the corner. His sword is drawn and wet, ready to strike, brothers and sisters. You have time now. You have time now, brothers and sisters. You have time now. And what is the time now, brothers and sisters? The life that you live. You wake up this morning. Many of you don't even thank the Most High. Many of you don't know the name of the Most High to be intimate with Him. Many of you don't want to take the time out, brothers and sisters, to seek Him. And His name, His mighty and awesome name, Yahusha Mashiach. Pray to His Father Yahuwah. Turn from your wicked ways. Turn from your wicked ways. On that note, Bruk Yahuwah to save our heart. Bruk Yahuwah Mashiach, Shina, Vishna, blessed love and shalom.